Hello, 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 everybody. Are we excited for some spring training baseball here today? I think we've got a pretty exciting spring cooking up ahead of season 3. Not only did we make some acquisitions that will be key to our success going forward, one being Jazz Chisholm. He's going down in overall because we moved him to third base over second base, which dropped him in overall. How's it going, Billy? Happy to have you here in chat. We also, of course, added Jesus Luzardo, Jojo Romero, and Victor Robles. But in addition to that, I know this probably won't be something that everybody loves because it doesn't make a ton of sense to add somebody to the 40-man roster if you're not planning on having them start the year because you're just automatically using one of their minor league options. But we will be seeing a couple of debuts from our prospects. And again, these guys don't really have a chance to make the opening day 26, but we have some spots left over on the 40-man roster, and we're going to see some debuts today. How's it going, Giblet? Big Raji? Hope y'all are doing well. Billy Fink, we'll see him this spring. We will also see Albert Sweeney play a bit here in spring at a 76 overall. We'll also be seeing a David Yan play here in spring. Our two best prospects, Yan and Fink, will both get some run and hopefully a decent amount of run here. Another guy I'm going to call up is a guy that we traded for in the offseason to be part of our bullpen. He's already a 76 overall. I want to see if he can contribute at the major league level. And that puts us up to 39. I think I'll leave that last spot open for now. I don't think there's anybody else that really, I feel like I'm certain is a year away or less. You could argue a guy like Buford Kingman or Termarr Johnson is only a year away, or even like a Bob Gomez here at a closer, but I think we can wait on those guys. Recovering from a nasty virus, that's no good. I've been pretty lucky with being able to avoid any major sicknesses here this winter season, which is nice. A couple of minor things, but nothing serious. So, with that being said, how does our pitching rotation look? I think this season, I'm promoting Mitch Keller up to the number 2 spot in our rotation. He has been our second best pitcher in the first 2 years of our franchise. I think he's earned it. And I'm hoping, honestly, that this kind of kickstarts Jared Jones, that being, quote unquote, demoted down to the 3rd spot in the rotation, can kickstart some good production from him. He's an 86 overall pitcher. He should be playing well. He's even got like the normal things you'd look for a pitcher to play well. His walks per 9 is solid, and his pitcher clutch is awesome. So I'm not sure what's really holding him back from being an awesome pitcher. Hopefully he could break out this year and earn that number 2 spot back. But Mitch Keller has just been really good for us. So I moved him up to the number 2. Jesus Luzardo will be our number 4. Our free agent acquisition coming off a really solid year. Really good. I think solid is maybe undercutting him. And as of right now, Bubba Chandler is projected to be the 5th starter in our rotation. I would like for him to win that job. He has yet to make his MLB debut, but he played really well for us in AAA last season. And we've already had to use an option on him. And so I'd love for him to take that 5th spot and kind of run with it, which leaves Yohan Oviedo, an 80 overall, as a long reliever for now. We'll see if that holds up. Our first closer will be Jojo Romero, but I don't think he automatically gets the job by any means. I think he has the most well-rounded skill set of all of our bullpen arms, which makes me like him for the closer spot. But other guys in consideration will be Colin Holderman. He pitched really well for us last year. And so, he has that 99 pitching clutch, which is awesome. But that 58 walks is a little concerning. Dari Moreta Had a little bit of a high whip last season, but, you know, if you go to 2 seasons ago, he pitched really well for us. And even with the 1.4 whip, his 3.03 area was still pretty solid. And then the last guy that would be in consideration would be Carmen Majinski for us. I think those are the guys that all have a chance to be the closer, but the guy that has to pretty much lose the job is Jojo Romero. He's the first one that will get the opportunity. We'll see how these guys pitch in spring. If one guy does so much better than the rest, then maybe we move him to closer. But right now, it's Jojo Romero's job to lose. How's it going, Jeremy Keller? So in terms of the lineups, now that we've added all these players to our 40-man, it's time to see where they will play. Right now, I have Robles hitting leadoff for us against right-handed pitching. I think that's pretty much what we brought him in to do. And here's the lineup thereafter for the time being. I think Nick Gonzalez against right-handed pitching will be substituted for Fink. I do want to try him at shortstop, but here in spring, I'm fine with playing him at second just because I want Castro there at short. Castro plays like everything, so we could even do this if we wanted to. I'm actually kind of 50-50 who we should play where here. We're also against, we're going to put David Yan here into the lineup as well. So what order? I don't know if, against right-handed pitching, I think Yan hitting at 9 is not a bad move. I think Fink goes above here and it goes above here. And I think he even goes above here. So this is probably our right-handed lineup. And then against left-handed lineups, that's where we're also going to bring in Albert Sweeney. And then, so our DH against the lefties is currently Peguero. That makes sense. Billy Fink will play shortstop against left-handed pitching, and Jan will also play catcher. So Jan's pretty good against lefties, so he's going to go up in the lineup here. I think this is probably about where he goes. And then something like this. I think this is our lineup against lefties. My face is covering some things, so let's hide it here for a second. O'Neill Cruz all the way down to the 8th spot. He's going to need to earn, I think, his opportunities this year. He's not going to have anything handed to him this year. Now, of course, our lineup will look a lot worse once we put Fink, Sweeney, and Jan all back. You could even argue, I think, yeah, this is probably better. So here is the lineup. Once we get these three guys back down to the minor leagues, yeah, it'll look a little bit different, of course. But as we always do, I don't know. It feels like they just do the same schedule every year for spring training. So we will be facing off against the Orioles here in our first spring training game. We'll get to see Billy Fink for the first time, David Yan for the first time, Jess Chisholm for the first time, a whole bunch of Pirates here. Now, how I'm planning on watching the games that I want to watch here in spring is when we decide to watch a game, we'll watch the first 3 innings because that's usually how long the pitcher stays in for the game. That'll get us at least one time through the lineup, and then we'll kind of hop in and out of the managed screen to get some other, important at-bats. But I don't plan on watching a lot of full games here in spring. I feel like that takes quite some time. But I do want to see everybody hit a little bit. And then as we go through spring, there'll be guys like, we'll probably watch some player-focused stretches of Fink, watch some focused stretches of Chisholm, who was our big free agent acquisition, etc. Dylan Cease on the mound for the Orioles for the opening spring at-bat. Victor Robles. I think he's a better fit for the leadoff spot than what we've had so far through the first 2 years. We had O'Neal Cruz kind of pigeonholed into there at the start because that's just how the game had it set up, and I started with what the game suggested and then kind of made my improvements from there. Ended up going with like Peguero and Gonzalez by the end, and I just don't think anybody was that great of a fit. If we were to start today, our two best projected averages would be Fink and David Yon. That's kind of wild. Two guys that aren't actually going to be on the Major League squad to start the year would project it average-wise at the very least to be our two best hitters. Let's turn off the music now that we're inside the game here. Ryan Reynolds just 1 for 10 against Cease. Not somebody he does well against. Over the last couple episodes, there's been a lot of support for keeping Brian Reynolds. There's been a couple that said we should just move on from him, but out of everyone here, he's the longest tenured Pirate, and he still performs at a solid level for us. So no plans on moving off from him anytime in the future. But here's the man that was the story of the offseason for Pittsburgh. Jazz Chisholm gets a pitch over the middle and cracks it out to right field. A single to start spring for Chisholm. Decided to buy 25 at launch this year, and I'm loving the gameplay so far. Normally we play CPU versus CPU and do a road to the show. 9 out of 10 for me. Hey, happy to hear you're enjoying it. Horowitz, swinging. So I've had a couple of questions about the first base position. And so I want to go through it here really quickly. How can I not? So wondering why maybe Josh Bell doesn't play as much because he's more balanced. And if Horowitz is actually that much better against right-handed pitching. Horowitz is awesome against right-handed pitching. He has 85. So I think these numbers, because I don't think he usually has 76 vision. So that might be our coaching staff boosting it right now. But anyway, 85 contact versus righties, 72 power, 76 vision, which I believe is normally 71, but I might be wrong on that. 80 discipline, 71 clutch, which against right-handed pitching, that is significantly better than Bell. That's 22 more contact and 12 more power, 3 more vision, 11 more discipline, but then Josh Bell has 4 more clutch. But that is a pretty significant difference against right-handed pitching. But he's so bad against lefties that we need to have somebody to come in and play at first base when we base on left-handed pitching. Joe, what have you missed so far? Nothing. You've missed the top of the first inning. Jazz Chisholm got a hit, a single. Otherwise, we went down pretty easily. I added the guys that are part of the not the thumbnail, what am I thinking? The title for the video. Jan, as you can see here, is behind the plate right now. He's playing for us in spring, as is Billy Fink and Albert Sweeney, of the guys that we've drafted so far.
2 balls, 1 strike.
So we're seeing all of them play for the first time. None of them have gotten an at-bat yet. Can't find the control here, Paul Skeens. This is what spring is for. Allows a walk to his first batter. I'll bring up Nathaniel Lau here. I mean, 102, but still struggling to find the zone. I don't know if that one was not close either. We've been pretty privileged to see Paul Skeens kind of on his game, but he's thrown now 8 pitches, and 7 of them have been balls. Back-to-back walks allowed for Paul Skeens to start spring. Is he scared of these guys or what? Now you have Henderson on at the plate, and that's not going to be any easier here. Assuming you change animation to an extent, I do. Finally finds the strike zone here. Have you considered sidearm for any relievers or closers? So typically when I change animations, I try to keep it kind of close to where they're at. If we got like a sick player, sometimes I'll consider them giving them like a sidearm or something. But for like a C potential or low B potential guy, I'm usually not going to do that level of customization unless their base animation is already kind of at that. You know what I mean? If they're a overhand pitcher, I'm not going to usually change them to sidearm because I try to keep their personalities to a certain extent. How's it going, Von Rye? Happy to have you here in stream. Just an idea, but rookie MVP in spring training at least bypasses AA. Well, out of all the guys that we have called up, only Billy Fink has even a chance of starting in AA. Jan's going to be in AAA no matter what, and Sweeney's going to be in AAA no matter what. There we go. We get the tag him out, throw him out there. First look at Billy Fink playing over there at second base. And a ratings boost. So I did kind of the surprise player and dead player of the year back in MLB The Show 23 to artificially kind of boost and reduce ratings. I think since then, I just like how, I mean, I don't think it's perfect, but I think MLB The Show does an adequate job changing people's ratings by themselves. So I don't really mess around with automatic, like, boosting somebody's ratings myself, you know what I mean? Unless it was in the case of Billy Fink where I wanted to increase his stealing at the cost of a little bit of hitting. I got outvoted there, unfortunately. You hate to see it. I wish we could have had Billy Fink as a better base runner. He struck out earlier, and now O'Neal Cruz flies out. So we're not doing a good job against Dylan Cease. He's not a very easy player to hit, to be fair. I'll bring up Castro here. So far, only Chisholm has gotten on base for us. Willie Castro in his final year. I think he'd have to be pretty dang good because I'm pretty much had it in my mind that we're freeing up one of our fifth outside asset slot by moving on from him next year. So since that's kind of already predetermined in my mind, the level of play that he would have to reach for me to not do that instead would have to be really good. I think he'd have to at least be in the 800s OPS-wise this year for me to consider it, and I just don't know if he's that caliber of player. But you never say never. I'm hoping he can be awesome this year for us and you know, earn a re-sign. So Paul Skeens ended up rebounding a bit after back-to-back walks allowed in the first. Gets a line out here to Reynolds on one pitch. Just under the zone there. So Skeens was great as a strikeout pitcher last year, but the ERA and the WHIP were a little bit higher than you'd expect from a player of his caliber. But when you watch him play, it's just hard not to get really excited about how awesome he is. And I'm hoping he can get back down to what he was in year one here back this year. Always vote against changing players' rating because theoretically if a pitcher had another pitch, maybe another team drafted him earlier. Yeah, I mean, that's part of it too. I think sometimes it does make sense to add a pitch to a pitcher, especially like an 18-year-old, because maybe he didn't have it when you drafted him, but he's 18 years old. He can learn a pitch. Probably wouldn't do the same for like a 23-year-old most of the time. But we did it with Pete Good. It's usually only like extreme circumstances, whereas Pete Good had 3 pitches, but 2 of them were fastballs, you know, so it really had 2 pitches, which is kind of an extreme case for a guy that has 96 potential, you know what I mean? For generational play like the one I've drafted in my franchise, when do you suggest calling him up? So I would like to usually get at least 1 season of development in the minors, and calling him up for September in his first year would be the earliest I would usually consider it, because then you can see him play in his first year while not actually using his first year of MLB service time. And if you want to do that thing where you extend him early to save money, that helps you save even more money because he hasn't used a year of service time yet. That is definitely on the table for Billy Fink. You know, I've been hesitant to give out contracts to guys like Jared Jones and O'Neal Cruz, and part of that is because I want to reserve those for guys that are going to be true faces of the franchise, like Paul Skeens, who we have done it for, and for guys like Billy Fink. Call them up after August 15th. Yeah, I usually just wait till September because that's when your rosters expand, but you can do it a little bit earlier if you want a few more at-bats. And for us this year, there's like honestly 3 hitters that are probably all going to be in line, and those are the 3 guys that we called up for spring. I think Jan making his September debut, Sweeney making his September debut, and Fink making his September debut are all very likely. Josh Bell pops it up, so not a lot of excitement offensively here. We are going double aces. Probably won't happen, but it'd be hilarious if Abdul Carter does the Jalen Carter. No, that's. I mean, he has the injury thing, but it's been hilarious. I've seen so many Eagles fans like saying, "Don't trade for Myles Garrett, trade for Abdul Carter." I'm like, the price for Abdul Carter is like unfathomably high for a team that's picking at 32. That's just not even remotely a possibility. I know he's from Penn State and stuff, and he's like very much so an Eagles fan. He's made that clear. Nice job, David Young. Getting on base. So we've gone through the order now, and we've gotten a couple of singles. As much as I would love Abdul Carter, I just... The guy I really want actually is Walter Nolan. That's my number 1 Eagles target for draft night as it stands today. Do you live in Pennsylvania? I do not. But I'm an Eagles fan since it was Donovan McNabb and Jeff Garcia came in to replace him when he was injured way back when. There's Brian Dawkins roaming the back end as a safety. I became an Eagles fan just because the first game I ever watched was an Eagles-Giants game, and they won. So, and growing up, when I was young, I wasn't really into sports at all, but my dad was, and he tried to get me into sports. I was into video games, so he got me NFL Blitz. And the Eagles that year were really good because it was the year after they went to the Super Bowl. So their roster was obviously really talented, and Donovan McNabb was like the best quarterback in the game. Congrats on Super Bowl. Hey, it's 1-1. You guys got us a couple of years ago. As a Steelers fan, you're welcome for Kenny Pickett. Hey, he came in and got us a win when Jalen Hurts went down. Everyone in Philly, though, wanted Tanner McKee as the backup quarterback instead of Kenny Pickett. It was hilarious. Even though Kenny was playing pretty solid as a backup. Hit decently hard there, but could not find the gap. So bottom of the third, this is the last inning that we'll watch in full. After that, we'll, again, kind of hop in and out of quick sim, trying to find some good moments. 103 from Paul Skeens in for strike one. So far looking awfully familiar to all the other Pirates games we've seen. It's weird because I started this game in a separate save file to get the thumbnail of Billy Fink playing at second base. And in that game, we started so much better. We already had like 3 or 4 runs at this point in the game. First NFL game you watched was Eagles versus Skins at 4 years old. Randall was the quarterback. That would have been a fun era of Eagles football to watch for sure. Last 2 Super Bowls killed 2 dynasties. Yeah, we didn't know at the time that the 2017 Super Bowl was killing a Patriots 3P. Oh, just beat him. Jackson Holliday's got some speed on him. But it, in fact, was a 3P killer, and then this time we knew it was a 3P killer for the Chiefs. I mean, the Chiefs are still going to be in it. I have no doubt. Although they do need to fix their offensive line. All right, we're into inning 4 here. So we're going to wait for kind of scoring opportunities, etc. Like we have right now. We have a RBI opportunity for Billy Fink. Struck out in his first spring plate appearance. Can he drive in the first run of spring with Chisholm at second? Chisholm, 2 for 2 so far in spring. Both singles, but 2 for 2. He's playing well. Fink, that's not going to get down. Easy play over in center. So can O'Neal Cruz drive in the run instead? Big, big year for O'Neal Cruz. At least as a Pirate. If he doesn't care about being a Pirate, then I guess he probably doesn't care all that much about this season. But in terms of his future in Pittsburgh, it is a massive year. We are in kind of a tough spot, though, because we've maxed out our outside asset slots that we either need to also trade Willie Castro when we trade O'Neal Cruz, or we need to not get somebody that's good enough to be considered an outside asset in return, which in my mind dissuades me from trading O'Neal Cruz. Jared Jones comes back in. Oh, yeah, the Chiefs dynasty is not dead at all. By all means, like I said, they'll still be in it. But I do think if they don't fix their offensive line, things could get bad. David Yan. 1 for 1. And an RBI opportunity. Still zeros. Ooh, a hanging curve. Number 3 ranked prospect. Number 3 by Pitt. So we have the top 3 prospects in the MLB right now. Yan, Fink, and Pete Good. I think are 1, 2, and 3 right now. Which is, that's pretty nice to have number 1, 2, and 3. That's the one he decided to go at, huh? Not the prettiest plate appearance for David Yan. Some of these young guns, I know it's only 2 plate appearances, but they're showing why they maybe still need a little seasoning. Reynolds brings home 2 with a double. Can Chisholm go 3 for 3? I gotta say, I was honestly a little surprised. Find any quirks on your latest draftees. Let's see. So, Jan doesn't have any. Fink has day player and stopper. It's good to know. I haven't actually checked this. The game's just like so bad at giving players quirks that I like almost never check it. Or we have Albert Sweeney, who's a night player and a stopper. Why all these guys got to play better when we're behind? I don't want to play from behind anymore. And we'll have to look at the rest later. That one will get down. Chisholm 3 for 3. Who said he wasn't going to hit for average? Horwitz. I'm really hoping he can get back to where he was in season 1. He does bring home an Fink reached via error. Cruz with a triple. So the offense is all of a sudden exploding. We're up to 6 runs. Just like that. Yohan Oviedo into the game for the Pirates. Brought him back on a 1-year arbitration deal. This very well could be his last season with us as well. David Yan, RBI double. Let's go. All right, we got to see Fink's first hit here. The offense is, started to pick up. What's his clutch? His clutch is solid. It's in the 60s. 64. So it's lower than his contact, so his ratings get slightly nerfed with the runner scoring position, but not anything to the point where he should have much be stopped all that much. My favorite is when they give stopper to the closers. Yeah, that'll help them. I mean, if it's somebody that doesn't have like the high potential that you want and maybe a all-star closer, that could be a reason to put them as a mid-relief pitcher for sure. Fink 0 for 4. Not the game you were hoping for Billy Fink. He's had a couple opportunities to drive in runs, just has not been able to do it. Luis Medina, former Rule 5 draft pick for us, really struggling here. Can we get a double play and keep the Orioles at 0 here from Luis Medina? Ended up pitching pretty solidly. There was certainly a risk with Medina because he was such a low rated pitcher that was forced to play in the minors for us last year. Took him for his age and his potential. I think after one season, you could say that that's worked out for us. Getting ahead of Mayo 1 and 2 here. Wouldn't mind a strikeout either, but if we could get a easy double play. This one's going to sneak through the infield. Handled by Reynolds, and the Orioles will score 2 on it. Swap back into the sim. Not a good inning here for Medina. Gunnar Hoagland's here. I remember him from the Athletics franchise we did. So haven't had what we've wanted from Fink, but we have had a multi-hit game here for David Young. Runners on first and second. 1-1 pitch is a sweeper. Almost got him. I don't know how you look at that pitch. I mean, it's not the easiest pitch to hit ever, but brings it 2-2. There was a comment to remove David Jan's mustache as he's got a strike 3 swinging. The only reason David Jan has a mustache is because when we drafted him, he had that ridiculous handlebar mustache. And so I didn't want to take out, there was some support for, jeez. So it is in spring. You get to the end of these games and there's just a million defensive substitutions. So there was support for keeping his insane mustache, and I wasn't willing to do that, so I compromised by, oh nice, solo homer, just giving him a more regular mustache. It's the catcher stash. It's part of the job requirement. Yeah, I'm keeping it. But there was just an argument that it wasn't very South Korean looking, which I can't really argue with. So I want to see if Sweeney gets into this game. It's really the last thing I'm looking for. See if we can get a at-bat from Sweeney, but it doesn't look like we're going to get one here unless the Orioles go crazy here. Which they might. Jeez. Can we get an out? Bro, are we going to choke this game? Are we going to choke this game? Holy crap. All we had to do was not give up like 7 runs here in the inning. And now the go-ahead run is at the plate. Jojo Romero, our first chance to see him pitch. Added him. We desperately needed left-handed pitching in our bullpen. I initially kind of was scouting him for free agency. I wasn't necessarily viewing him as our closer, but it ended up being that for us, and he does get the strike 3 on the slider to finish off the first game of spring. Chisholm played well. Jan played well. It was 4 for 4, but all singles for Chisholm. That's kind of funny. No extra base hits. Jared Jones was really good in his 1 inning pitched. So, next up on the list, I want to see Jesus Luzardo pitch a little bit. So I think we need him to the Braves here. So lots of Jojo Romero in the Lever of the Year race in MLB The Show 24. Yeah, he definitely has some good stuff. I wonder, are we facing a lefty here? I don't think so. All right. Another tough team to face. They've got a lot of bats over there in Atlanta. We will be seeing Ramon Laureano. So they have him as a DH against left-handed pitching. That makes sense. Jesus Luzardo. 80 overall. Pretty low on the pitching clutch, which does worry you. But he simmed really well last season. So I'm hoping he can do so again for us. Be better in that lefty spot than we've gotten from Andrew Heaney in the first 2 seasons. Could have brought back Bailey Falter, who was better when he came in for Henia in the injury, but I just wanted more of a long-term fit there. Hoping that can be Luzardo. Harris hits it deep out to left, and tracking it down is Reynolds for the first out. Kim swinging on the first pitch. Hits it a little bit harder, but in almost the same spot. 2 down on 5 pitches, but that brings up Ronald Acuna Jr., maybe my favorite player in baseball. Maybe. He's definitely up there. That's a ball. Ball 2. 2-1. Can we get through the inning in less than 10 pitches? You need something to happen right here. And it's just foul. 2-2 pitch is called strike 3. We'll take that. Getting down, Acuna looking. Good first impression there from Luzardo. We're going against Grant Holmes. I got to be honest, I don't know who that is. Let's go ahead and look at who we're facing off against here. He's 79 overall, so solid. Only 59 stamina, 26 pitching clutch. So if we can get guys in scoring position, we have some potential for some good innings. Robles down in 1 pitch. Infield fly. Over to third base. I'd like to see Albert Sweeney at some point, so I have to find a game where we're going against a lefty. Probably that might be the next thing that we do after we're done with this game. Fouled off there. They fall behind 0-2. Staying alive, Brian Reynolds. 1-2. In 222 through the first few games of spring, and flies it out over to De La Cruz. Jazz still in 778. My goodness. That's pretty solid average. Can you keep it going today? That's some good pitching right there. 0-2, good eye. It was kind of funny with the Chisholm signing. It was a guy that when I presented Chisholm as a potential signing in the end of season 2, the only comments I got were pro Chisholm. And there was a couple comments about it. They were like, I think you should go after Chisholm. Nobody said, no, don't go after Chisholm. And then I go after Chisholm, and almost all the comments are about how I probably shouldn't have gone after Jazz Chisholm. I hope he plays well for us. It's not a sure thing. I know his ratings aren't great. He's really only hits righties. But I have hopes that it'll work out and he'll be much better than us than Hay as well as offensively, while still being a solid defender there and going against the shift there. For a single. Did he keep Cruz? Have you not seen the off-season episode yet? I don't know if I'd watch this if you haven't seen the off-season episode yet. Unless you're not planning on watching it. I mean, there's already a spoiler here based on who's pitching for us right this very second. We did trade away one of the big three that I discussed at the end of last year. And it was not O'Neal Cruz. Didn't like Jazz. You're going to move Hayes. Yeah. O'Neal Cruz is on our team because we don't have any outside asset slots available right now. So I don't see the value in trading him for like a C potential player or a reliever. I don't think that's worth it. I'd rather have O'Neal Cruz. So he is on the roster for now. We'll see how much longer that is. I was hoping you'd keep him. You're one of the few. You are one of the few that I was hoping I'd keep O'Neal Cruz. Honestly, I would have been open to moving him. Matt Olson's crushed this one. That's easily. You could tell off from the sound off the bat that one was gone. There was more support for trading Cruz than I think any of the people that I discussed last season. I think mostly because he's the one that wasn't under contract at all. I put us in a little bit of a weird spot by maxing out our outside assets for this season. I will admit. Nice pitch there from Luzardo to get ahead 0-2 here against Brian De La Cruz way upstairs. Wasn't against moving him. It was just if it were a lateral move to Jazz, I thought you were basically getting the same player. I think Jazz is a better hitter than either Cruz or obviously Hayes. Although Hayes does have some hitting ability against lefties only. It didn't help him really much in the sim. Honestly, the contact versus righty between O'Neal Cruz and Jazz is pretty similar. It's the power. Jazz has like 20 higher power than Cruz against right-handed pitching. Cruz is better against lefties, though. Oh, boy. What is this guy's strike zone? And I've had people in the comments saying that Cruz has played better for them in their save, which is the beauty of franchise mode. Everybody can play the same game and get a different experience. Love the channel and your scouting tips. Thanks, SimFran. Free agency this year is definitely a challenge. It is a lot harder to find people, that is for sure. I was honestly surprised that we got Jazz Chisholm. I think getting obviously 50% in week one was key. If we were like 48% after week one, I don't think there's a chance we got Chisholm. Because we would have had to do a last chance offer and we wouldn't have been able to boost his motivation by 5 before that last chance offer. And, and it's possible maybe it would have been better if we got outbid for Chisholm. But I obviously have high hopes for the signing. Nice pitch for strike 3 on Laureano. Luzardo got crushed by Olson, but who doesn't, I struggle finding good position players in the draft when selecting 10 or later. Unfortunately, that's just kind of the nature of how this game is. In my scouting video, I suggested the one kind of archetype that I would look for after 10. I saw a lot of that early. I haven't seen much of it since, honestly. So I don't know if it was just... Oh, whoops. I wanted to see this inning from Luzardo. The reason I mentioned in my scouting video is because in my first 10 drafts or whatever, I saw it like almost like on average once every draft. But in some of my drafts I've seen since, it's like only one every 3 drafts will get a player like a Julio Macias that was in year 1 that I wasn't able to take because he got drafted by another team. But that's the kind of archetype of player I think you're most going to be able to find. Fink can't handle it at second. Oh boy, Fink, man. Fink needs some season at AA. Have you come across any two-way players in the draft? I have not yet. Unfortunately, with two-way players, everyone that I have seen, if they're not generational, their hitting is just awful. Like borderline, even untrainable. Unless they have like the ability to grow like 30 plus between their overall and their potential. Nice. Great pitch there from Luzardo. All right, Chisholm. Line out in the first. I have to say, definitely an underrated channel with the way you interact. Yeah, I mean, I definitely try my best to make sure that when somebody takes the time to comment on my videos that I respond. That you're not talking to a wall, you know what I mean? Oh, gets beamed. I try my best to do that. I can understand why some bigger channels, because even sometimes for me, when I make a video that's getting a lot of engagement early, I still don't get, even a channel of my size, I don't get notifications for all the comments I get. Like I'll go in to answer one comment and I see that there's like a couple of comments that I didn't get notifications for. So it can get overwhelming, but I still try to interact because that's part of the fun, I think, for everybody. Makes commenting more worth your time, and it makes it more fun to me to interact with the people. Do you find training guys yourself, not auto training, is more effective? I think especially for players that have like really defined strengths and weaknesses, yes, I would say that. Oh, come on. Can we get a grand slam from Fink? He hasn't impressed so far, but if we could get a grand slam here, then I don't care about anything else he's done so far. Like, for example, the guy that we got last year, Robinson Brown at center field. 100% we need to be training his arm, because the only thing I think keeping him from being somebody that could play center field early on is his arm. It's so bad. His contact's great. His fielding is great. His speed is great. His play skills are in a nice spot. His arm is so bad that it would severely hurt us at center field. So, yes, I'm going to switch from auto training. For guys that are a little more well-rounded, I think you can justify auto training. But for... I still typically, anybody with B or higher potential, I take them off of auto training myself. Are you an Eagles fan? I am definitely an Eagles fan. That is a large part of how I spend my time, is following the Birds. You're a PA guy, but a Cowboys fan. Imagine that was tough at times this year. One ball, 2 strikes. I forgive you for being an Eagles fan. Hey, man. It's a good time to be a Birds fan right now, gotta say. I'm not a Philly guy though, so I feel like a lot of the things that go into your stereotypical Eagles fan, I think it's awesome, but I don't like have the Eagles fan personality, you know, because I live all the way out in Utah, so because I'm also a Utah Jazz fan for basketball. You get updates every day to remind you the Eagles are Super Bowl champs. Yeah, it would not be a good time to be a Cowboys fan in Pennsylvania. Two pitch. Sinker fouled off. I don't know why I'm watching Skeens. Just because whenever Skeens is on the mound, I want to watch, really. Olsen, homered for Atlanta, is responsible for their 2 runs scored, and he is giving Skeens some trouble here. Fouling off everything. I have the foul sliders like all the way down, and still there are these plate appearances that will just go forever because the guy will foul off everything. Finally, we get one in play for Olsen. Also a Braves fan. Okay. Yeah, you're a fan of 2 teams that are division rivals for the Philadelphia teams, so that is I'm interested in how those 2 ended up being the teams you chose. Dion was your okay, yeah, that makes sense. Dion was pretty awesome. I cannot lie. Well done there from Paul Skeens. Now we get to see Spencer Strider. That's going to make things easier for our offense. Yeah, he goes down 1, 2, 3. Colin Holderman in. Coming off a really good year. Gets 3 straight outs. Not much to speak of offensively right now in this game. Heading into the 6th. Solo homer for Acuna. Off of Oviedo. Come on, Fink. Oh, my boy. Our boy is failing us in the spring. He might end up getting that -2 to his hitting after all. With how he's playing in spring. Triple for Jan. Let's go. Nick Gonzalez comes in and grounds out. How are you enjoying the game compared to last year? Honestly, the draft process I'm enjoying just as much. And then I get to be involved in free agency this year, which is fun. It does create an extra element of things that I have to kind of like worry about because the reality of being here we go, Sweeney. A content creator is in the back of my mind. Every move I make, I'm like, will the comment section hate me for this? And that is something that I wish I wasn't so conscious of all the time, but that was something you don't really have to worry about in a draft only franchise because you're just drafting, and usually the comment section won't hate you for having good drafts. You know what I mean? What's your overall review? So for me, I think they made player acquisition is as fun as it's been in the game since I started playing it. And for me, as long as the gameplay is good, which I feel like with the sliders, the gameplay is good. but that's been the case for all the shows. It's not like great right out the box, I'd say. And player acquisition being more fun than it's been. I have to give it good ratings. Now, I think there are other people who are more like baseball fans that will have other insights. But for me, all right, we're just going to the end of the game, dude. I'm so sick of it taking like 4 button pushes to go through every single at bat here. For me, don't hate or love moves you make. Yeah, it's kind of funny. In the comments, there are a lot of people like, this is how I play the game. I'm like, awesome. That's not how I play the game, though. They're like, if you want somebody to play the game your way, you can grab the controller and go play the game. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, I do ask for input on a lot of things. But there are just some things that I'm like, I want to play the game how I want to play it. All right, so I don't know who's lefties and righties. That's the problem. So I'm trying to find a left-handed pitcher so we can get more Albert Sweeney. Is Dean Kremer a lefty? He is a righty. No. I don't want to watch Baltimore again. Pablo Lopez, I don't believe is. I know who Pablo Lopez is, but I don't know if he throws lefty or righty. Righty. No. Taj Bradley. Sorry. Because of my lack of knowledge, you're going to have to see me do this all the time. I don't even remember who we were playing. Seattle. Nope, wasn't Seattle. Who were we playing? Tampa Bay. Dang it. Same color scheme, pretty much. Taj Bradley, righty. Can we play a lefty, please? I don't believe he's a lefty. Gausman of Detroit. Bruh, why are you doing this to me? We have yet to ever play a lefty, bruh. Can I just play a lefty? Is it that hard? Who are we playing? Was it Garrett Cole? Yep. Dakota Hudson on the Red Sox. Is he a lefty? This is where I'm really exposing myself for my lack of knowledge of baseball. I have to check every single time. Bowden Francis. How have we not played a single lefty yet, dude? This is insane. What the heck? Are they starting a reliever? Did I get the name wrong? Oh, Bowden Francis. I was looking for a different name. Francis. Bro, this is ridiculous at the point. I'm gonna stop trying. Dylan Cease we know isn't. Zach Wheeler isn't. Oh, we've gone through over a week and we've yet to face a single lefty. This is insane. Who are we playing? Is it Lopez? I think it's Lopez, right? I love CPU versus CPU. Have you ever tried management? No, because I do want to watch the games. All right, at this point, I'm done. We're facing the same guys. This is crazy. I'm done looking for lefties. We're just not going to face any lefties. Albert Sweeney's not going to get any at-bats versus lefties, I guess. He's been terrible on 19 at-bats anyway. How's Billy Fink done? 103. My goodness gracious, he's been trash. Holy crap. Our hitters have been terrible, except for David Yon. He is hitting 317. Proving that he might not be so far away from the show after all. You love to see that. How's everybody doing here? So we're getting this .75 whip from Skeens. That's really good. Jared Jones. My goodness, Jared Jones. That's awesome. Oviedo's been terrible, but everybody else in our pitching staff's been really good. Bubba Chandler. Let's watch some Bubba Chandler. I think that's the next thing we do, which is once again against the Orioles. And once again, like we just missed him. Yeah, he was right here. Dang. All right, so between now and Bubba Chandler, let's get a couple of Billy Fink games in. See if he can get something going here. Whoops. Got to see if we can get Billy Fink going here. 103 so far is just really terrible. Brian Reynolds hitting over 300. Jazz Chisholm down to 280. But still, we take that average for sure. So if you want to know how I do my player lock games, I basically do this. Which is what you have to do, unfortunately, in CPU versus CPU. You can't actually do player lock. 419 OPS. Certainly not where you want it. Obviously, spring is a very small sample size. But still, you were hoping for a generational player to come out and do a little bit better in spring. There you go. I think with Fink, one of the arguments against increasing his stealing is that he would never get on first base. And I'm going to have to fight the urge every single time he hits a single or walks to clap back that he's never going to be on first base. That's just not how this game plays. You're going to get singles and walks so often. He's going to be on first base a lot. Wow. Sack fly here. David Yon getting a hit. Man, are we going to get all the way back to Fink here? We are. He's back in the same inning. Let's go, man. Excellent offense here from Pittsburgh. So far, I'd say the offense is looking respectable here in spring, which is really what I wanted. And while we won't have a couple of the guys that we have here in the lineup, guys like Fink and Sweeney have actually actively hurt our offense, so might be better than what we're seeing here in spring even. Now, Jan's been really good, and he won't be there, so that'll be unfortunate. We'll be downgrading from Jan to one of Andy Rodriguez or Henry Davis. Full count here for Billy. Does anyone know what this batting stance is? Points for you if you know it's a current player. Strike out on the slider. If you can guess his batting stance, I don't know. I can't really think of a prize I could give you on YouTube, but you'll get major props. So you quick manage for player lock? I do exactly what I'm doing right here. I just do the quick simming for every at-bat that the player isn't involved in. Then I hop in. Still let the manager make all the decisions. I don't decide, which reliever comes in. Any hints? He is known as a top-tier third baseman. Not Javi Baez or Zuna. He plays on the favorite team of somebody that's been in here in chat today. I don't know if he's still here, so I don't know if he would be able to guess it if he's not here, obviously. Bang! Von Rye Gaming with the answer. This is the Nolan Arenado batting stance. Fink. I wasn't even paying attention. I don't even know. It sounds like he was. I know. That's why I said he's known as a top tier. I didn't say currently. All right. You love Jonah Bride stands for Road to the Show. Interesting. I'll have to check it out. I was just giving Fink a random stance, and Arenado's like at the top of one of the pages. And I was like, I like this stance. We'll give it to him. Offense is cooking today. My goodness. We're at 9 runs here in the 5th. Who are we? The Dodgers? Jazz is playing quite well in spring. I'm encouraged by what I've seen from Jazz. I'm also really encouraged by what I've seen from Jan. I still want to preserve his year of MLB time, so he's going to start the year for sure in AAA. But I feel pretty confident Jan's going to be ready by the end of this season with what he's shown me in spring. Those have probably been my 2 biggest standouts. Reynolds has also played well. Fink has just not impressed. I'm hoping he can just go rake a bunch in double and AAA, though. All right, we're getting to the point where Fink might be done for the day. We'll see. Yep, he is done for the day. So, with that being done, we will simulate the rest. And, I mean, we didn't get anything after the 5th inning. So, right as I compliment our offense for raking, and they do nothing. He should terrorize AA. He should. He should go crazy in AA and hopefully not end up being there for long at all. Got 6 runs in the 2nd. Which is where we did most of our damage offensively in this one. All right. We're going to give Billy Fink one more chance to impress here in spring. Most AA hitters have less than 60 contact and power. Yeah, and he has everything in the 60s except for contact versus right, which is in the 70s. So he should, he'll be going against pitchers whose per nines won't be that great. So I'd be pretty shocked if he struggles in AA. I could see him not being incredible in AAA to start, but I still think he'd be pretty dang good. And if he is only okay in AAA, maybe we wait till next season for him to make his debut. I never want to rush things. I want to make sure that I'm not hurting a player's development by calling him up earlier than he's ready. Now you'd think overall, why is it 81? He's ready right now. And I can't argue with that. But I also want to see the production. I want to just see the ratings. I actually got solid contact on the ball there, but didn't quite have the carry to go yard.
Ball 4, take your base. That's ball 4.
Mitch Keller really struggling against this Baltimore lineup right now.
Ball 4, take your base. 3, out. You're out.
Stolen base for Chisholm. Horwitz brings him in. All right, Billy. Home run. You got Dean Kremer. Easy money. Oh, I don't know. I feel like I've maybe seen enough here of Billy Fink. We're just going to sim through the rest of this game. I don't know why he's struggling so much here in spring. He has the ratings that he should be pretty solid. He's already one of our top 10 highest rated players on the team. Just a rough stretch for him. Rockies are calling up Chase Dolander for his MLB debut. That's fun. Chase, the ace, back in last year's MLB The Show 24 franchise. Ended up winning a Cy Young in Colorado for us, which is kind of insane. Brian Reynolds up to 340 almost. Jeez. Chisholm over 300 for us. Some solid spring training performances for sure. But let's see Bubba Chandler pitch for a few innings here, shall we? He's been okay in the spring. Oh, a diving play made by Billy Fink. There you go. There's a generational infielder highlight for you. Has a 33% strikeout rate and a sub 10% walkout rate. Yeah, that's going to be tough to keep going in cores. I don't know what his home run allows rate is. More enjoyable to watch a realistic outcome for Fink than to just get drafted and dominate right away. Yeah, it's nice to see a player have a journey, of course. Although I'm not going to lie, when David Yan came out and dominated right away, that was pretty fun. That was AA competition, of course. But every time we've watched David Yan, he's been pretty awesome. I'm excited for him to take over that catcher spot at some point this season, assuming he doesn't really struggle in AAA this year. I think even if he's average at AAA this year, he'll get the call up. That one left a little bit over the middle, but Henderson fouls it off.
2-2.
That's character, but again, the diversity of Yan and Fink is interesting, especially with the lackluster offense at catcher. Yeah, we definitely are gonna. I'm gonna be so excited to get some offense at that spot. I've had like a. I value catchers so much. Like my first pick of the franchise back in my draft only franchise in 23, catcher. My first trade in MLB The Show 24, catcher. My first pick in MLB The Show 25, catcher. I always want somebody that can provide two-way value at the catcher spot. That's a big priority for me. Especially because in the draft it's kind of rare, so when you get it, I feel like you don't have to prioritize it. All right, let's see another Bubba Chandler inning here. Going off against Tyler O'Neill. Nice change up there. I think Chandler should have a solid season at that fifth starter spot. And he has some per nines in the 50s, but they're kind of like the mid to high 50s. So I feel like it's not so bad that he'll struggle. Typically, I like to see important ratings in the 60s to be confident in a player producing at the MLB level. But you don't always get that, especially at the catcher spot. At the pitcher spot. Used to call him Tyler Bro-Neal. It's a good nickname. Chandler here. First 5 outs were on 15 pitches, and that's some good efficiency to start this game. And he's going to get through 2 innings and 17 pitches. Good stuff from Bubba Chandler. Increasing my confidence in him being inserted into the starting lineup this season.
That's ball 4. Ball 4, take your base. 3.
Thought about hopping in there, but we're here for Bubba Chandler. O'Neill's speed rating is way too low. What is it these days? I thought you had high speed back. What was the last MLB? I've probably seen his ratings in maybe MLB Show 23. Nice. It's high 60s now? That's pretty low. I expect at least the 80s. Oh, baby, look at that. Strike 3 for the 4th K of the game. Bubba Chandler showing us some stuff here worth getting excited about. Okay. I don't know how you're calling that ball with all the other stuff he's calling strikes. He's been generous on that outside edge all game. I wonder how the game does the like how it's actually coded, the umpire personality. Is there like obviously you see the zone on the screen, but does each umpire have like their own hidden zone? Oh, Brian Reynolds! Diving in the outfield. Another diving play made in this game by a position player. He laid out for that one. What a play. Wow. That was awesome. Jackson Hollow all the way down to the 9 spot for Baltimore. Double check your franchise file and he's 57. Yeah, that seems pretty low. Yeah, I know they have tendencies, but I don't know how it's coded, you know what I mean? Because sometimes even within the same game with an umpire, they won't call the same spot of the zone consistently. So I feel like it can't just be like that. They have their own secret zone that you can't see because they don't call it even consistently within that.
First base. You're out.
And then I assume, oh, they're keeping him out here for a 4th. That's how well he's playing. Let's go. Usually you get the substitution after the 3rd inning. Yeah, I know they have tendencies. I just don't know how they code it. That would be interesting to me if anybody knew how they so at least had some insight as to why they suck so bad sometimes. Some are truly terrible. Like in the game that, again, I kind of watched the game to get the thumbnail of Billy Fink before the stream, and I watched the first 4 innings. The guy we had for that one was insanely bad. Like, there's pitches where the entire ball was inside the zone with some space at the top of the zone. And he called it for a ball. I wish, because I know there's a setting where you can make it either a perfect zone or not. And I thought we were going to be able to test David Yawn's arm there, but I guess not.
Yep, he made it.
Hey, Johnny, how's it going? We're over halfway through spring training at this point. Oh, boy, that throw wasn't pretty. That was way high. Davion still has some developing to do offensively. Still has a long way to go before he reaches his ceiling. So I think by the time he's developed, he'll be a good defensive catcher. But if we're planning on bringing him up this season, like I've said, we probably are. He's not going to be a great defensive asset yet. Spring training later on, the starters go for. That makes sense. I guess usually at this part of spring training, I'm not paying as much attention to the starters usually, but I wanted to we simulated so much trying to find a lefty pitcher. Never even got one. Mayo at the warning track. It's hauled in by Robles for the third out. That's 4 scoreless for Chandler here. We will likely see his debut as part of the opening day episode. I'm not saying it's going to be our opening day starter. He won't, but I'll probably put both opening day and Bubba Chandler's debut in next episode, would be my guess. Is there anything else we want to really see in this game? I mean, we could watch a little Jazz. Been one of our stars of spring training, 877 OPS. Good first impression from Chisholm here after acquiring him in free agency. Falling behind 0-2 after looking at that pitch for a reason unbeknownst to me. Chopper. Easy out. Ending the fourth here. All right. I think we might sim to the end of the game now, but this is where I want to ask. Is there anything else you all want to see in spring training? Anything in specific that you think we should watch here in spring training? This was never going to be a super long stream. We've only got a handful of games left. So if there's a player you want to focus on, if there's anything you want to see before we get to the regular season, speak now or forever hold your peace as we shut out the Orioles here. Otherwise, I'll find something that I want to watch, which might be David Young. The diving plays that we got in this game were beautiful. Fink and Reynolds, are we going to see? No. Not going to see the other one. Chandler is your player of the game. He actually went 5 innings here. We skipped an inning. 5 innings, 5 strikeouts. He played awesome. I haven't gotten anything here in the chat, so I am going to go ahead and hop into some David Yon games. Is Fink in AAA? Here for spring, he's with the big league squad, Johnny, but he has been playing awfully. You can see his average here at the 7th spot, 113 in spring. It has not been a good spring for Billy Fink, unfortunately. He will start the year in AA, though. Oh, we finally got a lefty. We're switching it up. We're watching. I guess we could watch Sweeney and Jan. Finally, we got a lefty. My goodness, spring training is almost over. So we'll watch Sweeney and Jan. They hit right back to back. So it'll be easy to watch both of them together. Sweeney has also been really bad. So he's somebody that if he played really well in spring, I would have considered actually starting the year for him at the Major League. He was the only prospect where that was the case, just because his upside isn't nearly as much, so I'm not as worried. He's also already 76 overall. His ratings against lefties are really good already. So I would have considered that, but definitely hasn't been the spring we were hoping for from Albert Sweeney. So he's going to be in AAA. What about Jan, though? He's dropped off a bit now, down to just a 700 OPS. Started off the spring really well. But he can absolutely mash lefties. So we'll see what he can do here. He's got really good discipline. Discipline also already in the 70s for Jan after a +7 last year. Some good pitching here by Max Fried to get ahead of the count 1-2. Good eye. Curveball just inside. Oh, man. That's a tough strike. 3 looking. Just clipped the inside edge of that zone. Nope, we're not watching any more Billy Fink. We've seen enough. India gets a 2-run homer. He was in one of the free agent options this year. I just didn't think his hitting ratings were really what I wanted. Better inning that time from Skeets. Back to Albert Sweeney. Got a 3-2 ball game here in the 4th. And Fried isn't here in the 4th, so that goes with what Sim Fran was saying. All right, we'll take that. There's an example of a wacky zone here by an umpire. He called that one a ball, but he called David Jan's last strike 3 looking. Jan back up. Ball. I like David Jan's stance. I think David Jan's is one of the generic players, so I'm not going to have you all guess that one. I think it's one of the all-star binding stances, if I remember right. I did forget. Somebody asked about quirks earlier on, so I want y'all to remember to remind me after this game that I need to look at the quirks for all the guys that we've drafted. Because I do want to make sure I answer that question, even though it was asked towards the beginning of the stream. I've just totally forgot up until right this very second. Corey Seager. Yeah, I remember you saying you had a lot of success with that in one of your previous franchises. I like these spring unis for New York here. So far, not so good for David Jan here. There we go. Getting some offense going here. Speaking of quirks, does Jones have the perks that he can throw 100 plus? Based off what I've watched from him, I'd say that he probably doesn't. No, he has no quirks at all. On a draft, how far are you willing to reach on a pick compared to team rank? Wait, compared to your team's ranking? Honestly, I don't think there's a one size fits all there. I think there's a little bit of context. Like if you have a bunch of pitchers but only one hitter left, then I'd be willing to reach more on the hitter just so you can get a hitter. But typically I don't have to reach based on my team rank the way things go. But pretty much anybody that your scouts rank as a top 10 player, I'm usually willing to take at any point. As long as, you look at the player card and you like what you see. There's some guys that your scouts will rank top 10, but it'll be like a guy who has no chance to even start at 60 overall. So that's a little less desirable for me. Sweeney gets that one to drop down. And he picks up an RBI. So yeah, I think it just pitchers usually I'll never have to reach. That's the ball. That's interesting. Yeah, pitchers I feel like I almost never have to reach team rank. So another thing that's you need for context is your team rank will be lower on older players. So guys that are like 22 or 23, if they're not like 70 plus overall, your scouts won't like them. So I'm willing to reach on that. Like a guy like Julio Macias, for example, our scouts only ranked in the mid-20s of that class. He was easily one of the 10 best players in that class. Easily. One of the 5 best players in that class. So you got to kind of take that into context as well. Usually for younger players, I trust the ratings that my scouts give them. But for older players, you kind of have to take a look at the ratings and judge for yourself. Yeah, Reynolds has been awesome in this spring, I got to be honest. He's hitting, like 340 heading into this game? That's crazy. Here's Jared Jones. Speaking of him, he gets a 1-2-3 inning. Oh, we're starting to see people get subbed out, so we'll see if Sweeney's even here. Nope. Oh, you can watch Jazz Chisholm at bat. Why not? He's been playing well. Chisholm. 293 in spring so far. The highest paid hitter in franchise history, I should say. Skeens is the highest paid player in franchise history. So that's a high bill to live up to. Does he have the skill set to live up to it? Maybe. It's not a guaranteed thing by any means, but that's going to help. 362. His 4th homer of spring. He continues his strong first impression on the Pirates fan base here with his spring performance. I'm liking what I'm seeing from Jazz, providing a lot more pop at third base than we've had so far in our lineup here. Yeah, 293 is better than fine, I feel like, for a player that provides the power that Chisholm can give you. So pretty much everybody's getting pinch hit at this point, and we came for Jan and Sweeney, who are now both out. So we'll sim the rest of this game. Pirates win. Another really high-scoring game. I feel like in spring the scoring is often higher just because teams are just trotting out a bunch of pitchers, and some of them are kind of trash. You'll get paid with this slider set. You'll get paid for bad pitching, for sure. Like I have the slider set in a way where good pitchers will get boosts. You'll see more variety. Like you'll get good pitching games from people who are good at pitches. But if you trot out a bad pitcher, he's going to get rocked. So that's what I like is, because I felt like last year maybe in my Rockies franchise, the pitching just in general wasn't good enough. Where even if you had good pitchers, they just get rocked a little too often. Can I show the sliders? Sure. I have a whole video on the sliders. So I changed the human ones just in case. I think in my video I have the human ones just all at flat. But Contacts and timing at 7, power at 6, foul frequency at 1, solid hits at 6, starter stamina at 7, reliever stamina at 5, 6, 6, 6, 6, 2, 9, 9. I believe these are all at 7, and these are all at 6. This is at 7, this is at 9. These are my sliders. We're the 8th best team in spring. Now, that will go down. Our team has always been well ranked in spring training, and it goes down. Quirks, thank you. All right, so let's go through all the players that we drafted. Starting with starting pitchers here. Let's just sort by potential so we can quickly get to these guys. Pete Good, no quirks, unfortunately. Ray Drake has Road Warrior. Mackenzie McCarty has no quirks. Peter Enright has no quirks. Carl Womack. I always want to say the R. Warmack. I don't know why. Carl Womack. No quirks. Chandler. No quirks. Barco. No quirks. Relief pitchers. Diego Mosqueda. No quirks. As well as the guy we traded for. James Waylock. No quirks. Bob Gomez. No quirks. Richard Lynn. Hey, we finally got a relief arm with quirks. Got like no quirks on pretty much all of our pitching, but pickoff artist, not my favorite quirk, I'd say, but it's fine. David Young, no quirks. Haven't really drafted anybody. Tamar Johnson, no quirks. Albert Sweeney, we already saw, night player and stopper. Already seen Billy Fink's day player and stopper. Pedro Ponce. Unfazed and fighter. Excels when hitting with 2 strikes. I like that. Performs better in the 9th inning or later. I'll take that too. I like both those quirks. Robinson Brown, Road Warrior. Fine. We take those. And Buford Kingman. No quirks. Wish there was more pitch variety. Yeah, that could certainly. I know a lot of players are going for like the sweeper now these days, etc. Let's get a couple more David Yan games in. Maybe he's on a cold streak though. I don't know. Usually, if you go on somebody on a cold streak, they never snap out of it. You gotta let them do it in sim. How long is this stream? We're heading on 2 hours, so we're almost at 2 hours. That's pretty much what I wanted to be this stream. So I think we might actually get through spring at this point and see how everybody did at the end. Paul Skeens, he dropped. No. -1 home run per 9, huh? Oh, yeah, you can't. So we ended up with a 4.73 ERA and 1.21 WHIP. That's not great, honestly. Jared Jones was awesome in spring. 1.54 ERA, 0.80 WHIP. I am on the difficulty that changes, dynamic difficulty. 3.90 ERA, 1.27 WHIP. Got some good stuff out of Jesus Luzardo. Yohan Oviedo really struggled. Bubba Chandler, really like what I see here. Hunter Barco, he's going to start in AAA. So let's start making these moves now because I got to trim it down to a 26-man roster. Mike Burrows. So all these guys below are just pretty much going to be on AAA. What is the Splinker list as? I'm assuming that's going to be the sinker, yeah. Maybe he just has like insane break on it. Sinker, yeah, has 99 break on it. All right, back to this. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 starters. So we need 7 bullpen arms. So we need 7 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so Kyle Nicholas, he has an option. We'll give him down. Medina, he played pretty well for us last year. There's somebody else. What about Paul Strzelski? He's used all of his options. I also don't know if I care to lose him. So if he gets waiver wire picked up, I don't think we're going to be hurting all that bad. So I think these guys. So James Waylock, he didn't get any spring training on. That's unfortunate. Oh boy, Colin Holderman. He only pitched 1 2/3 inning. Okay, so yeah, a lot of these numbers just don't really mean anything. They spend a lot of the time just alternating between all the starting pitching in spring. Okay, so Jason DeLay here is going to move down to AAA, as is David Yan. These two guys will stay at the big league squad. Do you have an option? No. That's unfortunate. I think we're going to... Nice, David Triolo. Down to AAA. You're in AAA for sure. Jeez. You're in AAA. And you're in AA. I think we're good there. And then we need 5 outfielders. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How do we have 28? So I need to... So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Where are our extra 2 coming from? Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is there anybody else? Here, I should just sort by this. That'll help me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. So it says 28, but it's really 27. I need to get rid of 1 player. Jai Hwan Bei is already out of options. How long do we predict? I don't know. You guys can tell me how long you predict. I'm not seeing where I have too many players here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, yeah, I'm supposed to only have 6 infielders. So who goes down from this group? Probably just Bay, and we have to risk losing him, honestly. He'll probably get picked up by somebody else. Sorry, but that's the easiest choice here for sure. Willie Castro can play pretty much anything we need him to. Chisholm, I don't think there's a way to get second and center field, so he only has now third and center field for us. Had to nerf him a little bit, unfortunately. But between everybody here, I think we have our bases covered as to having a backup everywhere. So that's going to be the 26-man roster. We have 2 on waivers. And that's going to be the end of spring training. So thanks, everybody, for coming out here and hopping into the stream, getting some spring training action here. We're a little under 2 hours, but that's about where I wanted to be here for the stream. Unfortunately, didn't get quite as much of awesome preview for Billy Fink. He struggled a bit. Wish he played a little bit better, but we saw great stuff from other players on the roster. Right now, we're even ranked 5th because I dropped all of our worst players, and the other teams in the league haven't done that yet. But I'm excited for Season 3 of Pirates franchise. Opening day should be coming out tomorrow. I'm planning on taking a little bit of a break and then hopping down and recording it right away, pretty much. So that episode will be coming out tomorrow. We'll kick off Season 3, and Season 3 has a lot of fun storylines, I think, to follow. What to do with O'Neill Cruz. Did we make the right moves in the offseason? We have the number 1, 2, and 3 prospects in baseball. A lot of fun storylines for Season 3, and I'm excited to get into them. That's all I've got here for the stream, though. If you haven't already and you made it this far, please drop a like on the stream. It really helps out my channel as I try and grow. But thanks, everybody, for watching, and I'll be back soon. And until then, let's go Bucks.